Before we get started, if you enjoyed this video all the way through the end, if you're new to this channel, make sure to actually smash the like button because it's really helpful for the channel for us to actually grow and more people, more future animators can see these videos and help them out. I also have an animation workshop for all those that are interested in upping the skills and knowing how to actually make animations for games or otherwise. So make sure to check them out on my website, harveynewman.com. Having said all that, let's get started with this episode. How's it going, everybody? I hope you guys had a great week. For this episode, I want to talk about creating believable characters for games specifically, and how do we go about it, and some of my experiences creating characters for games. Let's get to it in this new episode. So I was actually watching on Disney Plus this excellent series that's called Inside Pixar. And in it, Kemp Powers, the writer and co-director of the movie Soul, was basically taking the viewers through the experience of actually writing characters that were believable. I felt very much like it hit me really hard because in this case, because of Soul, he was talking about how to make black characters to be believable. And that is a very, very good point. And I thought I would actually make a video because I had to go through a similar situation. So if you haven't seen that, Inside Pixar, make sure you go and see it. And a shout out to Kemp Powers because I feel like Soul is going to be an amazing movie, and I feel like it's going to be incredibly authentic to the black experience, especially the African American black experience.
I did it! I got the gig!
So when it comes to games, the character creation process goes a little different, and normally games, especially if you are in a cycle, right? If it's a game that is like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games that has been like deep into it, it's very difficult to deviate from actually creating something authentic, because something that happens in games, unless you're creating a very bespoke game from the ground up, people don't put so much emphasis on character creation. The result of all that is that all characters start to feel slightly the same. It depends on the game, right? But you guys, gamers out there, you must have realized or experienced this before, that when you play a game like, I don't know, let's say Call of Duty, for example, all the characters that you play online, multiplayer, they feel kind of the same, right? And that is for a reason, because the multiplayer experience needs to be the same for everybody, right? However, I think that the games industry is entering a new era where we all start to think much more about this character creation and how to actually get into the character's head much more now than before. And that is really, really cool and very apparent on games like Miles Morales, the Spider-Man that came out just this year for the PS5. And I can tell that both the writers and, you know, people that actually made the character move in a certain way and act in a certain way is much more realistic and faithful to a black character in a game.
Both of you. My time now. My time.
So I'm saying all this because I kind of feel like games, just like film, we need to go through a point of like just thinking about characters culturally and making sure that we are as original to the character as possible. Because what I've seen many times in games is that the character looks black, Asian, any other ethnicity, but the way they act and the way they talk and the way they kind of run and walk and all that stuff is basically the same as everywhere else. And that creates a problem, because from my experience being a black person, if I select a black character, I expect that black character not only to actually kind of look black, but also to talk and walk and do all the things that a black person does, which is slightly different than a white person, right? Culturally is different. So you know it because you have seen shows and met people and have friends that are black, and you know things change. So that element of things needs to be introduced into game. That episode of Inside Pixar actually kind of left me very inspired, because they even actually had a round table of black people working at Pixar discussing how original was this? Is this really how we talk, black people? Is this really how we do things? And that was very powerful to me, because if you work in a studio that is trying to create a certain type of character, there's no better person or people to talk to than the people that resembled that character. And unfortunately, in my experience, sometimes that gets dismissed, and they actually do a black character, Asian character, whatever, the way they think, people in general, the way that they think that character should be portrayed. And normally that is not really how things work in real life. So anyone that is Asian or black or whatever, they can tell you that this is slightly off, but we got used to it. And it's that element of getting used to it that is like, it got to me, or it's getting to me, I think. I think games, we can actually do better, and we can actually start doing those things. So it's actually kind of like getting people that are from that background and asking them, is this really how you would do this? Or does this look original to you? Would you actually like this guy? Would you consider this guy a friend? Would you consider this guy a foe? Why would you consider him a foe? What makes him original? Does it feel fake? Does it feel original? Does it feel authentic? Those are kind of the kind of questions that we need to ask ourselves. And when it comes to actually character creation in games, we kind of go through the same process, but it's just about the feel and how the character plays that actually gives you that sense of difference between characters. I think that's where we need to actually kind of add that element of, I like the French say, the je ne sais quoi. The black character that comes to mind that I've worked on more recently was Finn on Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. And I remember that when we captured the mocap for him, especially for the main menu and stuff, we tried to actually make him as Finn as possible and as black as possible, especially when it came to moves or things that he was doing that were not in the movies. And then we had to find, how would a black person do this, right? So a lot of the times it was me, because I was black and I was there, kind of showing the actor, the mocap actor, like, do it more like this. For example, when walking into the front menu, he would actually have to have a little bit more swag than a white character. So how would you do that? So we tried to actually infuse some of that stuff. It was not as much as that I would like, but that is basically the kind of like thought process that we have to go through as you create a character. In games, you definitely need to spend more time doing that, and I think we actually have a bright future ahead of us. And I just thought that I would drop that comment onto you all, because I thought it was really interesting to see that episode and to actually get people thinking about different ethnicities and different religions and different, like, in a way that actually is portrayed in the screen and as authentic as possible, because we all need it. And the more we have it, the more the players can actually connect with and feel better while playing the game. Best example that I can find right now is Black Panther. Black Panther was a movie created by black people and created for black people, but it didn't mean that only black people actually watched it. It felt like it was a universal movie that everyone could enjoy and have a peek about the black culture. How would it actually work in Africa, superhero in Wakanda? How would that look? That's different, right? So everyone was curious to see how that would play out. And I think that's basically ultimately what I'm trying to say, of like, there is a lot of substance and a lot of power in other cultures looking at black culture or any other culture through a medium like games and having a genuine experience about how that feels. You actually go into movies or you actually play games in order for you to escape reality. So what if the reality is completely different and it's something that you haven't experienced before, and you put yourself in the shoes of a black player acting and talking and doing things as a black person? That is an interactive medium that you can actually kind of feel and look and have a sense of how things go in real life. That is really powerful, much more powerful in my opinion than movies, and this is why I think that we should start thinking about those things as we make games. So So that's all I had for you guys. Let me know what you guys think on the comments down below. I would love to actually hear what you guys think. Please give me examples of games that you've played that you feel like you have witnessed this cultural shift and is authentic and is true to you. I would love to hear that, and I'd love to actually see the examples that you guys have, because in all honesty, I haven't seen many and I'd like to see more. So let me know what you think in the comments about this subject, and that's all I had for you guys. Don't forget to actually kind of smash that like button, and until next week, stay well, stay safe. Peace.